listening to Heroes Forge, a Heroes of the Storm podcast.
What is going on, Forgers? Welcome to Season 2, episode number 66 of Heroes Forge, a community-driven podcast all about your favorite game, our favorite game. It's called Heroes of the Storm. This is your show host, Jeff Reynolds. I'm here with the co-host of the show, who is more awesome, believe it or not, more awesome than Heroes 2.0. It's Kristen Ashton. What is going on, Kristen?
Going great, except you revealed yourself to be a liar, Jeff. There is no way, absolutely no way I am cooler than this Heroes 2.0 that the information dropped this past week for. No way.
Oh, Heroes 2.0 looks amazing. The stuff that they're doing with this game moving forward, the direction that they're going, I couldn't be more in love with it.
It is so sexy, for lack of a better word, but I love this variety that has now been basically punched into Heroes of the Storm. We knew the variety was there in the background. I mean, it's created by creative people, so we have to imagine when they're bored, they doodle things that we'd love to see in Heroes, and now we get to see it, and we get emotes, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, there's a ton of really cool additions to the game and a few changes to the game coming. Listen to Into the Nexus, the most recent episode of Into the Nexus. There's a ton of stuff covered in Heroes 2.0, and I'm sure they will continue to cover it on their show. There's a ton of great Blizzard Heroes of the Storm podcasts out there that are covering this stuff, and you can also check out the website, of course, heroesofthestorm.com. Tons of really cool additions coming to it, and just the emotes are part of it. The new skins that they didn't even show the in development thing for, they kind of just plopped them in this beta. And the fact that it is an open beta for everyone to jump into and try it before it goes live at the end of the month is just, it's insane.
It's great too, because it lets everyone test out this new system, to get a feel for it, to get comfortable with it, to test out features to see if you like them or if you don't like them, so that you can then reach out to the developers who are listening about what you like and what you don't like, so that when it does officially go live, correct changes can be made so that it works the best for as most people as possible.
Yeah, and they're throwing a brand new hero in there as well.
They are. Cassia, the Amazon from Diablo 2, comes in, and she is a blast to play. She plays very much like a single target assassin. She doesn't have a lot of health, and if you go in at the wrong time, you're going to explode and regret many decisions in your life. But if you pair her with a nice bursty assassin, she goes in, she blinds, she messes people up with spears. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I love the flavor. I love her whole Diablo 2 flavor. I mean, they are digging deep for a character like that, and I love when they do stuff like that. It is really cool. Jump in the PTR, also known as the Heroes 2.0 beta now. They changed the name of it. Anybody can get in there and play, and it's totally fun. The new loot box system, the whole sprays, emojis, the banners that they're adding, the way that they're changing how you put loadouts on your character as you go in. And I mean, if you go to the website, you can see that there's this huge timeline over the next month of stuff that they're going to be talking about. So, I mean, they're doing a Reddit Q&A coming up on April 5th. On the 12th, there's going to be something they're calling the Heroes Timeline, which I can only assume is, how often they're going to be releasing these characters. On the 17th, which is just mere weeks away, a new hero and a new battleground will be revealed. On the 18th, the official launch details for this are going to come out. The 19th, another Reddit Q&A about halfway through this beta testing period. On the 25th, there's going to be a cinematic, a new event, and something called the Nexus Challenge 2.0 is going to be unveiled. And then on May 4th, which is also merely just a couple of weeks away, another hero release.
It's basically spring Christmas. I mean, the Easter Bunny is here early. Santa, Easter Bunny have teamed up. I don't know what's going on here, but I like it.
Yeah, who wouldn't like it if you're a fan of this game? Tons of content in the month of April for Heroes of the Storm. Keep your eyes peeled. And one of those things that's coming up is, of course, Heroes of the Dorm this Saturday, April 8th. Kristen and I both have some teams in the running still. I hope you do in your brackets as well. And if you're planning on attending Heroes of the Dorm, shoot us a tweet or a message on our website and let me know, because I will be there in person and I'd love to say hi to anybody that's there. Maybe we can hang out and root for our favorite teams as they go on, also known as UCI, going all the way to win it.
Well, good luck. Best of luck to you. And I hope the boomsticks are as awesome as they were last year. I mean, who doesn't like boomsticks for these events?
That's right. And maybe some year, Kristen, you and I can catch Heroes of the Dorm at the same time. Last year you were there, and then this year I'm going. Maybe we'll plan it sometime where maybe they can put it somewhere where we can both go.
Well, that's BlizzCon, right? I mean,
That's
Dorm
right.
is fun, sure, but the World Finals in BlizzCon, that's pretty cool. And you get on what, international internet television?
Which is ultimately going to be the only kind of television once they get rid of TV altogether. We do have a little bit of housekeeping show info coming to you. So we do record the show live on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Amove TV. But because of the coming holiday, Easter, which is on a Sunday, we're going to record on that Tuesday, which will be April 18th. So just 2 days later than we would normally record, and it'll just give us some time and you guys some time there on the holiday weekend, and then we'll catch right back up with HeroesForge on April 18th at 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Amove TV. Oh, enough of all this housekeeping stuff. It's time. Let's forge.
Let's forge.
There is tons of hype in the chat for Heroes 2.0. There's tons of hype with me tonight for this forging, Kristen. If this is the first time you're listening to Heroes Forge, welcome to the show. We're going to take somebody that lives in this Blizzard universe and imagine what they would be like if they were in Heroes of the Storm. We're going to just theory craft some kits here for characters that aren't in the game yet. And boy, oh boy, do we have a lot of characters to choose from. And it's just, the pool's not getting any smaller.
It never does, especially with new things for Overwatch and Hearthstone and Warcraft and Diablo and StarCraft?
Question mark? Who knows? Maybe, you never know. There's going to be some big reveal some years down the line where they're like, StarCraft 3! And everybody's going to freak out and go crazy. But again, I mean, this is kind of a theme for this year so far. We've taken it back, way back in Blizzard history to bring some characters to life in Heroes of the Storm, and tonight is no different.
No, and it may be my old age catching up to me, but you had a great idea a few weeks ago, Jeff, going back to games that Blizzard made prior to their major IPs taking off. And so I went ahead and looked back in the timeline, and I stumbled across this game entitled Blackthorn. And so I did some digging, and I discovered that it's basically an 80s action movie, but in video game form. And I realized that aside from maybe Tychus, Heroes doesn't actually have a Schwarzenegger equivalent of some 80s action hero, and that made me depressed.
I didn't even think about it, but I'm depressed right now, and maybe we should just stop recording the show and, get over our depression. But no, we have got to talk about who we're forging tonight. Who is going to fill that void in our hearts, Kristen?
To fill the void in our hearts and to save us from this sadness that was overtaken, we are forging Kyle Vlaros from Blackthorn. I want to say Darkthorn every time, but it is Blackthorn.
So, Kyle Vlaros, this game I did not play. I have to be 100% honest. I didn't play this game. Did you?
I played this weekend. I did not complete it, but I got far enough in to really kind of get the feel for this game and how incredible it would have been as a movie back in the early to late 80s, maybe even early 90s.
Yeah, and I've watched the videos of this game on YouTube, and I watched, of course, all the research stuff that we usually do week to week to try to get the best understanding of these characters that we're talking about on the show, and I can totally feel that. It's got that whole 80s hairdo action sequence, and there are some really entertaining moments just watching people play this.
Oh, yes. I mean, this guy is the epitome of a badass. I mean, he's huge, he's ripped, and he goes to save his planet, and all of the dudes that are tied up are ripped, and like the only thing that's managed to stop them are these huge muscle-bound orcs. It's like Conan the Barbarian, but in a blizzard setting.
Yeah, that's a great way of explaining it. It is Conan the Barbarian to the T. I mean, that's exactly the kind of feel and style this game has. And you know, I looked up some reviews for this game when it first came out. First of all, I was really taken aback by the fact that people were reviewing video games back when this game came out. I mean, when did it first launch? I mean, it was a while ago.
I want to say the early 90s, maybe 94, I want to say.
Yeah, I was going to say somewhere early 90s, and these video game reviewers and stuff were already, you know, on top of it, reviewing these games and giving their opinions, and this game got pretty good reviews.
Which, when you play it now, is surprising, right? Because it's clearly dated. A lot of things feel broken. The way you can dodge bullets by leaning back up against a wall. So it's not, you know, modern day Doom. But at the same time, it's one of those, if you play enough video games, going back to this classic kind of explains where our modern gaming comes from. Very much like cinema. You can watch action movies nowadays, but you should go back and watch those old classics that a lot of the things we see now are based off of, because not only do you get a bigger appreciation, you also have an understanding, and you have a bigger chance of finding gems too. I mean, old movies may seem boring, but if you watch the good ones, they're really not.
Yeah, totally. And the same thing goes with games. The same thing goes with this. I was going to say, at the beginning of the show, I always say something that you are more awesome than. That just happens to be incredibly awesome on its own already. And I was going to say, the feeling of picking up an old game that you haven't played in a really long time, that was one of your favorites, and just playing through it again is a pretty awesome feeling too.
It is, and the nostalgia factor alone that comes with that really kind of pulls us back and reminds us why we fell in love with certain things in the first place, regardless of how they have evolved to the current state. The classics are what hooked us.
Totally. Okay, let's get a little bit of backstory on Kyle here and what his place is in this Blackthorn universe, which is a dark and dank place to live.
Alrighty. On a world hidden from Earth, an alien race existed, ruled by a single shaman that knew all knowledge. In time, that reigning shaman could not choose a successor between his two sons. Instead, he ushered them out to the desert and died, leaving behind a white and a black stone, splitting his kingdom in half. The Light Kingdom, Androth, followed the ways of the past, but the Dark Kingdom, Kajasul, rejected the stone, and its people transformed into monsters. War between the two lands was inevitable. Eventually, the Light Kingdom, ruled most recently by King Vlaros, was overrun by monsters. His last act was to teleport his son Kyle to Earth with the Light Stone to keep it safe and protected until Kyle could return to Tool, the world he came from, to overthrow Sarlacc and unite the broken world once more.
Oh man, this is a good story. I mean, you got to be. When I first read through this description, I think it's a really cool idea. This beginning thing where the father, the all reigning shaman that knew everything, couldn't choose one of his two sons to be his successor, so he split it in half and just died and was like, "Okay, you guys do what you got to do."
I would say that was a very poor choice. That was a terrible decision by the shaman. Granted, in history, even if you give your kingdom to one son, there's a good chance a jealous son will rise up and try to take it. But at the same time, that just seems like a kid thing to do. But I guess he was old. He knew he was dying, so he didn't want to deal with the choosing. I don't know. Bad choice, Shaman.
Bad choice. All-knowing shaman. Maybe you should have known a little more would happen to Sarlacc coming on board here and just, completely destroying everything that's going on. But leave it to Kyle to jump into this game and to, take back this kingdom. And in the end, spoiler alert, he does.
Whoa. Whoa. No,
Whoa.
what I love about that, I think my favorite part about this story, now remember, when you're listening to these builds about Kyle, audience, remember he is 20 years old, but he is already an elite commando and revered as some sort of mercenary lord, all by the time he was 20.
Yeah, and what else is crazy is that he was old enough. It's not like he was a baby, like in these traditional stories that we hear where the baby gets shipped off and, then comes to fruition later in the story and gets taken in and realizes who he is. No, not Kyle. Kyle knew he was being transported. He was old enough to know he was being transported to Earth, which gave him the power to become this elite commando by the age of 20 and then transport back and wreak some havoc on these people that are destroying his homeworld.
Exactly. So maybe the stone gave him more power, and we could argue that. That's what gave him the ability to get super ripped and to be like the best, most badass dude ever by the age of 20. But I also want to point out something hilarious. So the king, Kyle's father, had a wizard best buddy advisor, and the advisor's name is Galadriel, but I kept reading Galadriel. I can't stop seeing Galadriel when I see this guy's name.
It's how these things stick in our head, I'm telling you.
It is, but it's Galadriel or something. Just an old man wizard advisor that does the teleporting and basically blesses your mission and says, you do this because you're awesome. And you go, I know.
I have to admit, I think that a story like this is actually believe it or not, I mean, the gameplay on this older game, early 90s, Blackthorn, this game, side-scroller, basically, that you're going across the battlefield, the story is actually pretty solid for a game like this, I think.
It is. All of the baddies have specific names and weaknesses, right? They're built into the story. And it's not that Sarlacc was the evil brother that took over. No, it's a bit more complicated than that. Sarlacc is actually just some demon that rose up from the ranks, usurped the throne, and is now sitting on top of it. So in classic Blizzard fashion, there's far more there than what's offered on the cover art.
Yeah, even way back when they started making these first games like Blackthorn. Let's get onto it. Let's get on to some forging here. We're going to build 2 kits. I'm going to build a kit and Kristen's going to build a kit. And since Kristen won the ever-coveted Twitter vote last week for the better of the 2 kits, I get to go first. So the first thing we always talk about is the role classification for this character in the game. If they were to be in the Nexus, what would they be? And I'm going to go with an assassin.
Yeah, yes, it has to be that way. You could argue warrior, but you don't kill that many people with your shotgun and bare hands and not be called an assassin.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be an assassin. He's this buff guy that carries a shotgun and walks around and just does some serious damage. An Epic Lurker in the chat is saying it's from 1994 on SNES. 94, Kristen, you hit the nail on the head. 94, man. Go back and play this game. It looks like a ton of fun. Okay, let's talk about traits. My trait over on my assassin build I'm calling Pump Shotgun. So Kyle is known for his trusty pump shotgun in Blackthorn. In Heroes of the Storm, it would be no different. Kyle would be an auto attack assassin with more powerful auto attacks that would have a slower than normal auto attack animation. His shotgun would also do increased damage to foes that were closer to him when fired in true video game shotgun fashion.
Nice. So with this, mentioning the ones that are closer than further away, are you envisioning that it fires through people or could fire through people as well? Or it's just basically shotgun close range. It blows them up if they're close enough. Yeah,
I think it's not like Vala's spread shot or whatever that's called, where, she can shoot that spread shot and it kind of goes up and over and hits everything in the area. If you're closer and you get hit by it, it deals more damage, but if you're further away, it deals less damage, but still more damage than the normal auto attack thought, you know, like a normal auto attacker.
Oh, totally. So what's the range you're thinking would go with this? Because I know shotgun damage varies greatly in first-person and third-person shooters.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, let's take Vala's spread shot there, which I should really know the name of because I like playing Vala. But let's take that range, and let's say it's that, and half of it is double damage or increased damage, maybe not double, and then the other half of it is a normal auto attack damage.
Nice. That sounds like a cool way to break it down. And then, of course, if you do the visual of it, you'd be able to see that clear, distinct divide.
Yeah, and this is going to be a true auto attack assassin. I mean, that's how I see this Kyle guy running around. Just, I mean, basically, that's what you've got in this game is your shotgun. It's your trusty buddy in this game as you go through and you're dodging other orcs with shotguns that are laughing at you until you blow them away without even looking. So as far as a mounting ability for my build, I'm going to say that he rides what's called a levitation board. So if you watch the videos of this, you can pick up an item called a levitator, and you can throw an item, this levitator down on the battlefield that helps you reach high places. Kyle steps on it and it shoots him up into the air, and then he can jump onto something else. So I'm thinking, why not mod that out and make it like a mount, a levitating board?
Well, there we go. And I mean, we know we have the ability to do that. We've got the clouds. We've got the floating coins. We've got the carpets. So that's, you gotta, right? It's that little triangle thing, and then it's got little lights coming out from the bottom. It's perfect.
Are you crazy, McFly? Hoverboards don't work on water.
Plays every time you try to fly over some water.
Okay, let's get into some basic abilities here. My first one is called Offhand Explosive Round. So Kyle can choose to fire this shot from his shotgun by activating this ability as he reaches out with one hand, one badass hand, and fires it. This shot can't miss and deals max damage no matter the range due to it being known as an explosive round. This shot can be fired blind behind Kyle as he's running away, because that is one of the most entertaining things about this game, is that he can reach just without looking, just turn his arm right over, point it the opposite direction, and fire that shotgun off and just do damage without even looking.
And he never has to reload. I mean, this guy is amazing. I don't know why I've never played this game before. Okay, so with this one, do you target the hero? Is it a skill shot? How does that work?
Yeah, it has a set range. So it's basically you're taking your close range pump shotgun trait damage and you're extending it out so that you can do that full damage but at a further distance.
Gotcha. So it kind of plays into that basic attack look, except maybe the gun starts glowing or something, or when you fire out the bullet, it's got fire around it.
Yeah, just like in the game, you can upgrade your shotgun to get explosive rounds by the end of the game. So they just deal more damage, and so that's how I kind of fit it in there with this auto attack build. And then moving on to the next thing I think would be kind of cool is the next basic ability I'm calling remote Wasp. So Kyle can place up to 3 remote bombs on the battlefield that can be activated at the same time, exploding and dealing damage to all enemies in the area. This ability does increase damage to heroes. So think of it kind of like Probius, but you know how you have to trigger Probius's thing by doing a skill shot to set it off? This is just a straight up timed, or not timed, but a straight up like, activatable bomb. You just place it in a bush or something, and it's not like Abathur's where you roll over it and it blows up. You gotta hit that button like in true 80s cinematography fashion, and then it blows up all the mines that you have placed.
Well, I mean, as long as we get the close-up of the hand and the thumb and then the button as it gets pushed, I think we've got it. So for this one, so if you have 3 bombs placed, if you place another one, does one of them disappear?
Yeah, or I'm thinking you have to have 3 placed in order to get the ability to explode them. So it's like your ability key is mapped to place, 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 explode, place, 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 explode. So you kind of have to, not kind of, you absolutely have to plan out what you're going to do so that you can be in the right position to hit that button and then do some damage.
Gotcha. Now, how fast do you think he would throw these bombs out? And would it be ranged? Would he have to throw them, or does he have to be there to place them?
I think he places them at his feet. I want him to be in the fight, I just picture him really deep in the fight with this shotgun doing as much damage as possible. So I'm also thinking that he is not as squishy as your traditional assassin. He's going to have more health. He's going to be able to take more damage because he is, in fact, an elite commando.
It's absolutely true. He's probably thicker than Tychus, although, which is weird because Tychus has such a small health pool. It always weirded me out that such a big guy like Tychus would just go down so fast. So I like the idea that Kyle would actually be bolstered. Elite commando. He's been shot so many times in order to increase his personal defense against bullets.
He's got it down. He's got it down. All the training, all of his 19 years of training or whatever it was before he moved in to try to take back his homeworld. And this next ability helps him do that too. It's called Wall Hug. So during his battles in Blackthorn, Kyle became a master of dodging enemy attacks by hugging himself to the wall and allowing the bullets to fly right by him. In the Nexus, this is represented by Kyle having what I'm calling a Varian-like parry move. But unlike Varian, Kyle would be able to only dodge ability attacks. When this is activated, Kyle will be ready for the next ability attack that is tossed his way for a short amount of time. When the ability is on the way, he would jump out of the way in the closest direction and not take any attack damage from that ability.
Fascinating, because if he's dodging abilities, this would mean the jump distance would vary based on the ability being thrown at him, correct?
Yeah, so I had that same thought today as I was thinking about this again, where if Asmodan, because if you play the most recent Brawl, it's a bunch of Asmodans running around blowing each other up, but let's say that one of Asmodan's orbs is coming in, well that circle has an area and that counts as ability damage, so Kyle in this build, if you had this activated, you saw it was coming in, he would have to jump out of that circle in order to wall hug to get away from that damage, and so that would be a further distance than if Jaina's skill shot was coming in. He wouldn't have to jump that far to get away.
Totally. Now with this one, the question I am going to ask, it's right on the tip of my tongue, I've kind of lost it. Let's see. So he's dodging. Would he teleport? Would he quickly run away? And would it only work against one ability, or as many abilities as came at him during the time this was active?
I think it only works once. So for example, when you hit Varian's parry and somebody's shooting you, it just multiple parries until that ability wears off. It lasts for half a second, right? This would last on Kyle for longer than that, but it would need to have an ability used on him in order for it to, he would jump out of the way, and then it would be on cooldown, obviously, so he couldn't do it again. And I think that he just does a somersault or maybe kind of just jumps out of the way in some sort of dodge fashion.
Totally, or maybe he just stands there and cuts it in half with some karate moves we didn't even know he knew, but he totally does as an elite commando.
You have to talent into that, Kristen. Come on now, you got to talent into something like that. Let's talk about some heroics on my build. The first one is called Witness True Strength. When this heroic is used, Kyle's shotgun becomes fully upgraded like it is at the end of the game and does not need to be pumped to keep firing. It also becomes fully automatic and fires explosive rounds dealing massive damage. This only lasts for a short amount of time, but during this time, Kyle is a one-man killing machine.
This would be so good. Does he get any increased speed or anything to chase anybody down? Or is he basically standing there screaming, firing off his gun?
Yeah, he doesn't have to be stationary, but I don't think that he gets a speed increase, but just full on, just boom, 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 shotgun, shotgun, shotgun. And this plays into the point that I was making with the trait where his auto attacks usually take longer because you're going boom, boom, longer than a normal auto attack animation. So this takes that away and you're just unloading.
I love it. And then, of course, level 20 could be something absurd, like this is permanent, kind of like Illidan's Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
It just stays.
That'd be so cool. And I just want him to be in there going crazy and trying to take back the Nexus. My second heroic is called Lightstone. So Kyle wields the power of the Lightstone and it gives him incredible strength. This is a passive ability that allows Kyle to permanently wield 2 shotguns, dealing massive damage to the enemy. So this guy is strong, right? I mean, let's be real. He's firing a shotgun offhand, like one hand, pointing it out and shooting it, sometimes behind him. Talk about back muscles. Talk about total elite commando status. But with this selected, you get 2.
That's incredible. So would these be pump? And if so, would he basically hold them up and do like an arm pump in the air to get the gun cocked?
Absolutely. Or maybe if you take this ability, you get the custom Terminator shotgun that you can just spin to reload it or to pump it, or you just reload it by spinning it. How cool would that animation be?
That would be automatically purchased first day. Before it even comes out, I would go to Blizzard headquarters. Oh my goodness, that would be amazing. That would be so cool. Okay, so Lightstone, is this permanent or is it just a duration?
No, you're passive on this one. This is just like when Varian splits Charlemagne in 2 and you're just going, you're going crazy. There's going to be an animation for it. Maybe he pulls it out and he like says, why wasn't I using this the whole time? And then he can just go through the whole battle and I agree with Hylar in the chat saying, what's better than 1 shotgun? 2 shotguns.
This is turning into the best 80s action hero ever. You would need a pun for this, right? Because we've already got, do you remember the I want to pump you up? So that could be it.
Absolutely. I'm gonna brainstorm on that pun because I think there's some serious opportunity to have an amazingly funny comment, but I want to make sure that it's right. So I'm gonna brainstorm on that pun. Let's move on. So that's my complete build, Kristen, right there. I just want Kyle to be a auto attack assassin that does serious damage and is in the thick of the fight because he can take the hits because he is an elite commando. Let's move on to your build. What do you think his role classification would be?
There's no mystery here with how much I praised Assassin in your build. He's an assassin through and through. I mean, what 80s hero was not an assassin?
That's right. Think of all those, action heroes and stuff. They weren't specialists. They weren't tanks. They definitely weren't support characters. They were assassins. I love it. What's the trait that goes along with that?
The trait I'm calling Run and Gun. Now, during his time here on Earth, Vlaros learned the importance of being able to protect his own back. Because of this, Kyle has the power to fire off his basic attacks and abilities behind him, as well as in front, regardless of the direction he is facing.
This is cool. This is a cool thought that you don't really think about a lot when you're out there playing. Imagine if you were rooted or not able to turn. Maybe you got rooted by the boss or something and someone's coming up behind you. It's just that split-second thing that could save you.
Exactly. It's tiny. It's fractions of seconds to be able to do this, but it would make quite a difference, I think, if you were on top of watching your back and your front, because you could be attacking somebody in front of you and let loose something behind you while still keeping the basic attacks going forward.
Nice. I love that idea. So, I mean, this is totally this character. This is totally the Blackthorn feel. I mean, in these videos you watch, he'll be up against the wall, and then this orc will be firing on him, and he'll come out, and he'll just run the other direction, but not even looking, like we said before, reach over and just blow that orc away.
No recoil or anything. It's just a casual, I'm going for a stretch, kapow.
You're gone. You're gone. Let's get into mounting. What were you thinking for his mount?
The mount, I see him on a motorcycle. I blame this on Terminator 2. I absolutely blame this on Terminator 2. Or he would have one of those commando stealthy runs. Kind of like a Rambo through the jungle type of thing.
Totally. I totally agree with the motorcycle part too. I mean, riding like a chopper, right? Like a full-on chopper, not like Leoric's chopper, and not 3 wheels, not like a tripod motorcycle. I'm talking like a full-on chopper.
Exactly. And when he turns it on, he puts his leg on the ground and he does the wheelie around it before taking off. Maybe he puts on some sunglasses. I don't know.
Yeah, and all the time he's got a shotgun strapped to his back. His best friend, the shotgun.
Oh, shoddy.
What's your first basic ability?
The first one is called duck and roll. And this is because in the game, when you crouch down and you move, you now roll everywhere you go. And it was amazing. I think I rolled most of my way through what I played. So the master of dodge, Kyle ducks down and rolls around, giving him increased movement and evade.
Oh, I like it. So he gets like a permanent evade while he's using this ability. Or are you saying he doesn't get hit by as much damage?
I'm saying he gets to evade the damage coming his way while he's rolling around. I mean, he's still got his shotgun held high, but you know, he's got to do the duck and cover and the and then he rolls, you know, moving all over the place. They can't catch him. His cat-like reflexes are too much.
That's right. Shoulder rolls, dive rolls, just getting in the battle, you know, evading everything.
Back flips. We don't know how he does it since he weighs probably about 300 pounds, but you know, as elite army commando.
300 pounds of pure muscle. Negative body fat.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut. He really doesn't have much body fat.
Okay, what's the second basic ability that goes along with duck and roll? That is such a cool idea.
Okay, the second one is called Hover Bomb. Kyle chucks a bomb of glowing blue light. This bomb locks onto a target and chases after them, dealing massive damage once it hits. Unfortunately, though, if Kyle is too close, he will suffer damage as well, which I learned the hard way. You want to throw the bombs because you will kill yourself if they explode and you're too close.
Okay, the hover bomb, from the stuff that I watched about this game, is a huge part of the game. I mean, from what I know, people like this game not for the action portions of it, but the more puzzly portions of it, where you have to decide when and where to use the items that you find on the battlefield. And the hover bomb is one of the most coveted items because it opens doors, it deals damage. You drop this hover bomb down and it floats on the ground. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of those bombs that you could get in Zelda that kind of follow along on the ground. You know, you drop them and they move like up there and then they blow up once they get there, and you can only open doors with them some ways. You know, it's a cool idea.
It is, and you would get stuck on levels. I myself got stuck on a few levels because I used the bombs incorrectly.
Yeah, that's part of the puzzle I think is really cool, is because it takes it to a different kind of game, which is a lot of fun. Well, what's the third basic that goes along with that one?
Okay, and the third one is called Health Potion, and simply that. Pulling out a vial gifted to him by one of his brethren, Kyle drinks quickly, chucking the vial to the side while regaining health. The broken shards of glass there on the ground inflict damage to any enemy that steps in the area. And to keep with tradition, Kyle has a set number of health potions per level.
Okay, this is really cool, and I love the fact that the glass deals damage to people that step on it.
Right? I've always wondered why that doesn't happen with Greymane. He's chucking vials and you hear it explode. And what about Nazebo's clay jars? We know for a fact from That Bruce Willis movie.
That doesn't narrow it down very much.
The Christmas movie.
Die Hard.
Die Hard, yes, thank you. We know for a fact from Die Hard that glass hurts your feet. So why is Nexus wouldn't hurt your feet?
I have so many issues with these statements. First of all, are you one of those people that think Die Hard is a Christmas film?
I think it's a fun film regardless of the holiday. I don't save it specifically for Christmas.
I agree with that. Some people think that it's a Christmas film, and I will go to my grave saying it's an action film that takes place during Christmas.
I would agree with that. It is an action film.
Anyway, let's talk about this ability. That is a really cool idea. So I also just like the visual of this, because he would obviously have some sort of really witty line that he says.
I know. We'll have to come back and chat too if you have puns. If you have good puns for this. I can imagine something with cutting, slicing.
Yeah, let's think about that one. Watch your step. Perfect. That's it. Watch your step. Yippee-ki-yay. Maybe says something like that. This is really cool. So set number of health potions per level. So if you use your health potions up before you move to the next level, I mean, that takes another sort of skill thing that we don't normally see in Heroes.
Yes. So, for instance, level 1 through 3, you only get 1 vial per level. As soon as you use it, you don't get another health potion until the next level where it resets. And it doesn't stack. It just resets when you hit the different levels.
Okay, that's really neat. I can't wait to hear the heroics. Hit me with the first heroic.
Okay, heroic 1 is called Trip This. Working fast, Kyle sets up switch plates around an area. If an enemy steps on this plate, or all of the plates, a turret tied to the plate will pop up from the ground and lock onto the enemy until they are either dead, the turret is destroyed, or the turret runs out of ammo, signaling the end of the heroic.
Okay, so this is like a hidden Tychus laser.
Yes, that's exactly it. And I could imagine if you're looking for the switch plate, you could see it. But if you're in the heat of battle and things are weird, you wouldn't notice the leaves placed on the ground that sort of look out of place.
Yeah, this camouflaged turret. And they have these turrets in Blackthorn too, right? But do they come out of the ground or out of the ceiling?
They come out of the ceiling. I had to switch it to the ground just because there's really no ceiling. It's kind of open sky. I guess Tomb of the Spider Queen has a ceiling.
No, that makes sense, though. I think it's really cool that they come out of the ground. And these things do damage in Blackthorn that I've seen. You got to take those out with some bombs for sure. Oh, this would be really great to like place on an objective. How long does it stay hidden? Does it have a timer or is it just there until it's tripped?
That's a good question. I like to imagine it would stay there until it's tripped, because it would have so it's like a delayed roll in Dungeons and Dragons, a delayed action, right? You set it up, hopefully they hit it and it goes off, but if not, you could disassemble it and set it up somewhere else and wait. So you kind of have to be predictive of what's going to happen in that sense.
Yeah, but there's a lot of maps, I think, that could serve from something really predictive like this. You could set things up. I mean, Abathur is a perfect example of Heroes that you have to predict where people are going to be, and if you do it right, it can really pay off.
Yeah, exactly. The delay alone could save you a game.
That is too cool. Okay, what's the second heroic?
Okay, the second one is called Quit Falling For Me. With heroic, Vlaros can now set ground traps across the map. When stepped on by an enemy hero, said enemy will fall, I mean, it's more like a little stumble, into a pit of spikes that deals damage over time. These spikes can be attacked and, once destroyed, removes the trap from the battlefield.
Okay, so this is cool because this is like a cocoon, but that deals damage to you while you're in it.
Yes. And a cocoon you can target yourself. Your friends don't have to kill it for you.
Can they?
They could if they wanted to.
Oh, that is a neat visual too. So this is total elite commando stuff here. I mean, I'm seeing this whole, trapdoor open up, spikes, and you're falling down into it. So how long does it take to set this?
This, I would imagine, not too long, 3 seconds to kind of put it together, because the idea with this is that you would go out on your own. You're in the jungle. This is first blood. The enemy is there to kill you, so you need to set up and kill them before they can do anything. So it's your job to actually be a preemptive assassin, figure out where they're going to be, and set up to give your team the advantage so that they can come in and sweep in, because your traps have done most of that initiative damage.
I love the trap idea. I think that totally says Kyle and this whole elite commando thing. Okay, Kristen, great build. How do you sum it all up?
Full 80s action, last action hero.
Last action hero. Yeah, and the assassin, I think, is a total way to go with Kyle and this whole Blackthorn storyline. Okay, well, we can't call these heroes forged until we thank some people out there that are helping support the show. We really want to thank everyone that's reached out and supported us on Patreon. You can do that at patreon.com/HeroesForge. Over there, we want to thank everybody, all the rock stars over there they are the true action heroes, the people that are supporting us. And if you'd like to join the crew, you can do that at patreon.com/HeroesForge. And also, I want to thank everyone that's given us a 5-star review on iTunes. It really helps the show grow. Yeah. You guys are rock stars too, and everyone in chat that joins us every Sunday night, thank you to you as well. Okay, let's get into the best parts of these builds, and that's the specialty skins and the dance moves. And we're going to start with Kristen's specialty skin.
Okay, have you seen Hot Shots Part 2?
No.
Okay, well, there's a character in there. It's Charlie Sheen's character, and his name is Topper Harley, and he's basically an homage to all of those wonderful action heroes that Kyle Vlaros would be representative of. So there's one part in Hot Shots that has me on the ground every time. It's a fight scene. They're in a jungle. Enemies are everywhere, and Topper and his friends are outnumbered. So, they get the guns out, bullets are flying and everything, and eventually a kill count shows up on the screen. And so it cuts to people getting hit by bullets, and the kill count's just exploding with numbers. And it gets crazier and crazier until eventually, at some point, Charlie Sheen is surrounded by bad guys, and he turns to a basket of bullets, and he grabs a handful of bullets, and he chucks it at the bad guys, and they all look like they're getting hit by shots, and they die. And oh, it was amazing.
So Topper Harley is the name of the character.
Topper Harley. He's got a red bandana that he wears around his hair. He's got a mullet that's kind of curly. He's got the dog tags, the white wife beater.
Yeah, I need to see that. I am going to research that after this, because that sounds hilarious. And the kill count. So you have a kill count on your screen when you have the skin up.
Exactly. It starts from the moment the game starts, so the kill count can go as high as you want it to.
That is really cool. And this is kind of like a cool thing that they're doing in some respects now with the overlay for the brawl that's happening right now. Is really cool how you get this, minion meteor kill count, because it dictates how strong your team is getting in this Asmodunk brawl.
Yep, exactly like that. So it would count everything. You break a jar, kill count added 2. You knock down a tree with an ability, kill count added 2.
Trees count 2. That's right. Trees do count 2. Okay, my specialty skin over here is going to be... Well, I like to think, okay, there's a couple of things that I saw that I've seen in this game where there are bloggers and there are people that, are really, they create a lot of user content like we do, and Blizzard is so cool because they put them in the game, right? There's one guy that's like, I was a blogger and they put me I'm in the stands of the arena brawl. You can see me there. And it's like a little tune of this guy that's in the arena brawl. And I think that's so cool. So who does more for this game than none other than Kyle Ferguson, who shares the same name as this character? Not the Ferguson part, but the Kyle part. So I think that Blizzard would have a Rambo Kyle Ferguson that would fill in as the skin.
That would be awesome. And I mean, it's the same outfit though, right? The wife beater and the head, the mullet you got going on. That would be great. So would it be First Blood Rambo, or are you thinking kind of a later iteration?
I think that is the skin variations. you can choose which Kyle Ferguson Rambo you'd like to have in the Nexus.
Nice. Now, would your gun change with the skin? And what about all of the extra stuff that you do?
Oh, absolutely. And you'd be wearing this like all tore up Into the Nexus shirt. That's like, a tank top, but it's all tore up and it says ITN on it and has like special voice lines like, "Take that, you special snowflake."
Oh, yes. Yes. How many Mr. Freeze quotes could transfer over?
That's right. That is my skin idea. And my dance move for Blackthorn would be a one-arm shotgun pump, or he takes the levitator and he levitates his shotgun and he limbo dances under it.
I like it. I love the use of the shotgun. I mean, it's part of who he is after all. How could you dance with anything else?
That's right. That's his one and only true love. Also, I think it's really interesting that at the end of the battle, this guy is so badass that when you finally defeat the final boss, he takes the boss's head, the skull of the boss, and sticks it on a spike and puts it in the throne room, which he is sitting on with like his leg over the arm thing, and he's got like a drink and all these like girls around him, and he's like, "Yeah, I won."
Well, wouldn't you do that though? If you came back, you conquered a world. Would you not post your enemy's head on a spike around the throne and then surround yourself with a lovely harem?
That's right. Especially if I was an elite commando. What's your dance move, Kristen?
I would say he wouldn't dance because Kyle Vlaros does not dance. He flexes. So he would basically do the Mr. Olympia flex routine. You get the front, you get the back, you get the side.
Oh, yeah, that's great. And, it really goes into the direction that they're going in with taunts. Like, you could have some really good Kyle taunts in this game, too.
Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine? You grab an enemy hero and you give them, like, a noogie on the head and they can't get out because they're a weakling. I mean, maybe Uther. Maybe Tychus.
Probably. Yeah. All right, after all of that, and that was an awful lot, we can say that this hero was forged.
HeroesForge.
I think that this is a character that we will see in the Nexus. I know I say that almost every week, but I think they didn't create this classic character section of Heroes where they've just got the Lost Vikings right now without having the thought of bringing more classic characters from their classic games into Heroes of the Storm. And I think that this character, more than Rock and Roll Racers, more than these games that people are saying, I think that this character is probably the most doable, like translating wise.
Yeah, I can see that. Cars would be rough, right, if we do Rock and Roll Racer, because I think it's agreed that you would need the car of the racer, because that's just them. They're in the car the whole time. Whereas this is this pretty unique silhouette. And it's this character role that hasn't been filled yet, this hyper-masculine, super aggressive, super cool, can't be beat guy that just isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, and I think it would be a really cool throwback for a lot of people that played this game when it originally came out on SNES, and, it was on Game Boy at one point. I think they even did a revamp of it at one point. And Kristen, how did you get to play it?
You can actually go on a website. If you search for Blackthorn online, there's so many emulators within browsers. As long as your Flash player is up to date, you can play it.
Cool. I have to hit that up. And everybody out there, use the wonderful power of the true elite commando, Google, and find the Blackthorn out there and play through part of it, or at least watch the videos like I did, because it's entertaining, it's very funny, and it's a cool concept for the game. All right, we're going to call it there. Kristen, where can people find you in the interwebs when you're not on this show?
People can find me at Dream Destroyer. That is DRMDESTRYR over at Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.
And I have to say, snaps over here, snaps for Kristen, because she completed Dark Souls.
Oh, yeah, Lord Gwyn went down. But I mean, honestly, after ONS, after 5 to 6 days of battling a single boss fight, the rest of the game was just not laughable, but at the same time, a breath of fresh air.
But you just got that much better by beating those other 2 bosses, and you made it all the way to the end. Congrats. Everybody check out Kristen's stream. It is a ton of fun to watch. I'm usually there watching it as well when I should really be working, but I'm watching it instead. If you're looking for me, you can find me right here on HeroesForge. We record the show live every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Amove TV, because we are so honored to be part of the Amove TV podcasting and entertainment network. For more great esports and video game podcasts, make sure you head on over to amove.tv, including Into the Nexus, which is the show that can fill you in on all of the awesome Heroes 2.0 action that is coming this month. And stay tuned for all of that stuff. I'm sure they're going to keep on coming with more and more and more info on Into the Nexus that'll just blow your mind. If you're looking for more HeroesForge, you can check out our website, which is heroesforge.club. Over there we have the other 65 episodes and 65 or so characters that we forged, along with a few interviews with Blizzard developers and some really cool interviews recently with the Northern Arizona University Heroes of the Dorm team. That was really fun to get an insight of everything that happens in the pre-bracket play for Heroes of the Dorm. Check it out. Also, you can download the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or any of your favorite podcasting apps. And if you'd like to support the show, again, you can do that at patreon.com/HeroesForge. And if you have an idea for a hero that you'd like to see on the show, maybe you're thinking, man, I played Blackthorn all the time, and that was a Blizzard game, and I want Blackthorn in the Nexus. Shoot us your ideas. You can email them to us, contactheroesforge@gmail.com, or at the contact tab on the top of our website. Thank you to everyone that supports the show on Patreon. Again, thank you to everyone that's given us a 5-star review on iTunes, and everyone that continues to listen to the show as we go past a year strong here. And we're not slowing down. Just a reminder, we'll be bringing the show to you live next Sunday, but the following Sunday we'll be recording on Tuesday, April 18th, after the holiday. Kristen, final thoughts on Kyle?
I love him. I love this trope, and I forever will. Just maybe it's because I'm a small girl who could never be a huge, insanely buff man, but it just cracks me up. It cracks me up.
It's great. It's a great stereotype for those 80s action stars that we need in the Nexus. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Forge Heroes. We're going to be putting these builds up for a vote, and the winner gets to choose who we forge next week. We're going to call it there. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all in the real world.